Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive, day 3 of covering the NFC North, which means we have finally reached our future Super Bowl champions, the Green Bay Packers. I'm not being serious, but boy, is this an interesting team for a lot of reasons.
It's in the realm of possibilities.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think
are we at the halfway point then? Once we're done with the Lions, or is this our?
Oh,
fifth
we're past.
division?
This is our fifth division.
This is our fifth division.
We've already rounded home.
Okay.
The general spirit and feeling about this team, the market kind of opinion of this team, everything is roses right now, and you can't help but understand why. This is a really young core of players that are all expected to take a step forward together at the same time. And you look at the coaching, no qualms, no issues. You look at the quarterback, tough to find a reason to doubt him. You look at the statistical performances that they've had in the last couple of years, in spite of being so young, in spite of being injured at times, and it's kind of like they've sort of proven to you all of the potential issues, and I think for those reasons, and combined with the way that their schedule is sequenced, like it's not hard to squint and be like, oh, this could be a breakout year for this group as a whole. And you could have one of those years where it's just like on schedule, everybody starts to peak at the same time and it all comes together and then they make beautiful music together. Or they could have the same problems they have every year that prevent them from going deep into the playoffs.
This was
we'll
when I started my NFC North like deep dive stuff. I do the overview kind of stuff, just get all my notes ready, and then I go deep. And I had a lot of trouble sitting and remembering this season. Like a lot of teams had very memorable, crazy unmemorable for an 11-win season. And I think a lot of what happened was it's because of how it ended. You had a couple of bad injuries in the final game of the season. You lost a stinker to a team, you were better than all your other losses were against high-level teams. You lost a stinker to the Bears. You lost Watson. Love got banged up. And then you had to play as the 7th seed against a very, very good team. It wasn't really much of a game, and it was just a very forgettable ending. I don't know, maybe even more so than the Vikings ending, which was – I feel like the Vikings ending was way more of a womp-womp than this one was. But for some reason, I don't have a lot of, like, strong memories about this season other than, it was a tough start to overcome, I guess, between the – you lose to obviously what turned out to be the best team in an international game, and then you
close call too.
Yeah, close call. Your quarterback gets injured. You actually got I don't remember exactly how many games he missed. You get some Malik Willis games.
I think he missed 3. At least 2. You had at least 2 Malik Willis starts.
Yeah, he ended up starting, and they actually won a couple games. But yeah, your losses were an 2 international game to the Super Bowl champs.
Honestly thought they outplayed the Eagles in that.
They were good in that game. They were very good in that game. You lost by 2 to a team that won what was it, 14? The Vikings won. You lost to the Lions. That's a tough one. You lost to the Lions again on the road, which was even closer, and then you lost to the Vikings again late, again by 2 points. So it's crazy how this was like a right on the cusp kind of team.
Yeah.
Yet because of the end of the season and the early unceremonious exit in the playoffs, which was, what was that score? Like they lost by double digits, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was just it was a ugly ending to what should have been.
Yes.
It should have been like a springboard season because not only did their quarterback miss time, and every receiver is apparently made of glass and is going to miss time, but
all of their receivers,
your star corner, who has now moved on, but he
was a pain in the ass. Yeah.
He's just never healthy. You don't have your CB1 back there ever. You got a lot of nice stuff out of the defense. I think the new DC was worked out. You obviously have a high-end coach, a high-end OC, and the same man there, and it feels like it should be a springboard year. And I think we're going to be a little more rosy on them than my memories were going to allow me, I guess, because I have a fairly high rating on this team, and the holes are kind of few and far between, honestly.
The real kind of reason to be optimistic about the Packers is really that we are at the end of a 3-year arc of them swinging and at least hitting singles on their entire roster, having been drafting and developing. This is almost an entirely homegrown unit outside of Josh Jacobs. Like, all of these players are players you have taken early, rounds 1, 2, and 3, developed, and have at least hit a single. And that is rare. This is rare in today's NFL. And so you have sort of this perfect storm of all of your guys that you developed with good coaching. To me, it looks like they hit us at least a single with the defensive coordinator hire last year.
Yeah.
And now they're all
big improvement,
entering their prime, and you probably have one bite at the apple here until you're going to have to start paying other guys around Jordan Love, and then it's going to get weird. But yeah, I mean, a healthy, I guess, Aaron Banks is your only starter on offense besides Josh Jacobs that you didn't draft. Your entire second unit, except for Malik Willis, you drafted. Your entire starting defense besides Xavier McKinney and Keezian Nixon, you drafted. Like, that's amazing. Excuse me, Nate Hobbs.
Nate Hobbs you brought in this year, and
this
Xavier
is
McKinney,
so much homegrown talent.
Really good.
This
turned to be a really good move.
Yeah, and then you look at our lads, and you're looking at the years these guys were drafted: 22, 23, 22, 24, 24, 24, 22, 22, 22, 23. Jordan Love, 2020. Like, the handful of guys that were pre-2020 that exist on this roster. Kenny Clark, 2016. He is the old man on this roster. Rashawn Gary is an old man on this roster, 2019 draft choice. Like, this is wild how young this team is, and it's been young for years, but they've been playing together and getting reps, and now this is it. This is their chance. And I think the 2024 season was fascinating in a lot of ways because, as you mentioned, like, they managed to find success. They win their 2 games without Love after that Philly loss, and it turned out they happened to play 2 pretty dysfunctional teams, which helped, but brilliant coaching and game plan by LaFleur in the moment. And then, oh, by the way, LaFleur has to craft a game plan for Jordan Love with a kind of a meaningful MCL injury to his knee, which means you can't necessarily do exactly what you would want to do with them neutrally. And they still almost beat the Vikings, you mentioned, although I gotta say they got clearly outplayed by the Vikings that day, I thought, and they dug themselves a little bit out of that hole to make that game final score look closer than it really was.
Vikings did that sometimes. All the Vikings close wins, it felt like. Weren't they leading by a bunch at some point? Love had the MCL, and Love played with a groin injury for quite a few weeks too. He is maybe a little shades of Stafford from his younger years, where it's like, hey, this guy's hurt, but he's gonna ball. He's gonna come out here. He's gonna play. And I mentioned few and far between in the holes. Yeah, this is Donaldson mentioned some news from basically yesterday. The Hobbs stuff. It seems minor. It was like it's not a meniscus tear. It was like a meniscus injury, and he had a quick little. They're calling it a minor surgery. I don't know. It's another one of those preseason things where they don't have to really tell you everything, but it made it sound like week 1 is up in the air, 50-50 kind of stuff. So that's something to monitor because that matters quite a bit when you lost. You lost another corner that was playing at that spot last year, and you needed Hobbs to come in and be your replacement right off the bat. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye on that. We'll see if he's practicing here in a week or 2.
Yeah. Anyway, the 2024, I thought LaFleur did an amazing job of keeping his team in the mix despite the quarterback injuries. The kind of notable moment. There were 2, I guess, and they were both against the Lions. Week 8 at the Jags, Love gets a groin injury. And in week 9, playing the Lions, he was clearly not right. You only score 14 points. Your defense holds the mighty Lions offense to 24. That was an achievement at that time. And you lose by 10 in a game that felt pretty consequential for any hope that you had of winning the NFC North. 3 straight wins out of the bye with a healthier Love. All of a sudden, you're back in contention at 9-3, and you're going at the Lions on Thursday Night Football, December 5th. And this felt again like, okay, here we go. You're entering the late part of the season. The team's getting better again as we get later into the year, which is sort of the staple of this LaFleur Packers tenure. Team you don't want to play in January, proverbially the team you don't want to play in January. It felt like every year. And taking on the Lions on the road in that game, Lions defense gets hurt. That was, you remember this Thursday Night Football game where Dan Quinn basically was like, we cannot afford to give the ball back to these Packers or we will lose. So we are going to go for it instead of kicking the very likely field goal that will give us a 3-point lead. And they get the first down, they wind down the clock, they kick the field goal as time expires, and they effectively eliminate the Packers in that moment. And
it's probably, again, maybe not analytically sound in everybody's chart and everybody's system, but I agreed with it because it's the same thing. It reminded me of the Super Fun Fiesta Bowl where Boise State pulled everything out of the back of the playbook, because it's like, hey, we can't tackle Adrian Peterson. We have to just score all the points we can all the time. And, otherwise we're just going to lose to this team. So, I mean, it was kind of the same thing. We're just going to go for this and we're going to go for the throat, go for the win. That's why we love Dan Campbell at times. And yeah, there was some of these games against the playoff teams, that's a big part of anything you'll read about Green Bay. Oh, they're 2-6 versus playoff teams. Oh, they lost versus playoff teams. They put up some good efforts. And
very,
like
very
you said we had an injured Rodgers, Jesus Christ, Andy, an injured Love at times, and kind of a weird one in Brazil, where I thought they played pretty damn good. And it was just tough luck against a great team.
Even their playoff loss, you mentioned it. The season feels like it ended with the funk because they lose their last 3, including a tough loss to the Vikings, a weird loss to the Bears, and then on paper a true loss to the Eagles, albeit 12-point loss, and not covering that spread. The cover was definitely in a little bit of danger as someone who had a lot of Eagles that day. And the cover was in danger despite the Packers effectively spotting the Eagles 7 points in that game. If you remember correctly, the opening kickoff was fumbled and the Eagles basically had a layup touchdown to take a 7-0 lead. And then with the home crowd and with the with the
not how you want to
talent they had, they were able to just basically kind of keep the Packers at bay and avoid a shocker, getting the cover and the win, moving on. But
when you're playing a historically prolific rushing offense
at home
who can absolutely steal the clock from you, you don't want to start in a hole like that. It was just it was over quickly, it felt like, and such is life.
Nixon was the man, actually. He fumbled, was forced by Oren Burks, recovered by Jeremiah Trotter at the Green Bay 28. 3 plays later, it is a Jalen Hurts completed pass to John Dotson for 11-yard touchdown. Dotson had a couple of moments that I just completely spaced on in the playoffs last year that were important for that Eagles team. So you go into the offseason and everybody has basically been, Hobbs exceptional, with the exception, everybody's basically healthy. Like, there's not a lot of questions swirling. There's not a lot of continuity issues. There's not a lot of, there are not a lot of reasons to look at this group and expect any type of meaningful regression, which I think is, again, fueling a lot of the enthusiasm about what they could ultimately be in 2025. And, I think they're going to be a big part of the story one way or the other, whether they end up being your NFC title winners or, just a fly in the ointment for the other true contenders. We'll find out in January, but I'd be pretty surprised if this was a belly flop season for a team that is this stacked with talent at this age and, at this stage in their progression.
Yeah, I guess I was a little surprised with my rating, but then I went back and looked at how I had them rated at the end of the year. I was like, yeah, maybe I'm not. We were happy with a lot of stuff that went on. It's kind of living in the shadow of 4 really amazing stories in the NFC with, the Lions being as good as, especially before you got to the playoffs, it was like, oh my God, this is the Lions here. And oh my God, Jaden Daniels. And oh my God, the Tush Push and Saquon. And oh my God, Sam Darnold. They really got lost in the shuffle. And truthfully, this is, I don't know, what is this? Is this your 3rd best NFC team?
Great question. Probably 4th. No, third. Yeah, this is 3rd.
I was going to say they have to be my
3rd and 4th for me are very close. I will say because the Hef asked.
The Miami game was a blowout for a reason.
Yeah, the Miami game was a blowout for a reason. The Niners game was a blowout for a reason. They had a little bit of luck in the middle there, but some of those were very hard fought wins. Rams, Cardinals, Texans was a nice little stretch for them, particularly again with Love dealing with the MCL and. Even the Bears 29-19 win was impressive coming out of the bye week, considering Love was still dealing with the groin. And I'm fine making excuses for Love with those pretty significant injuries he played through. Like that was pretty impressive. I will say the Pythag win was 11.5. Their actual record was 11-6. So they underachieved by a half win. I also would say their win total was 10 flat. They overachieved there by a win. As we covered, it could have been more. What did you think of their off-season, Andy? As we kind of mentioned, this is a team that didn't really have many holes, didn't really need to do much, but they went to the free agent market anyway and got a couple of dimes for a nickel, right?
Yeah, well, I mentioned Jair Alexander no longer on the team, so you did need to fill in there. And truthfully, even if I don't think it was ever going to be somebody you retained anyway. Just with the injuries and how much it costs, and they went and got Nate Hobbs. I guess is Aaron Banks your exciting signing? I guess like it's that or Hobbs, I suppose. McCole Hardman is a funny signing to me because it's just like, hey, here's a guy who is clearly not ever going to be a wide receiver 1, but he's still pretty good. You're going to fit right in, buddy. Welcome to, I think I wrote that in the description, 6-pack of wide receiver 2s, and none of them stay healthy. So Hardman is versatile. I guess he can do some different stuff. It's funny that it's just funny that they ended up with someone, like that, I guess. Drafted Matthew Golden. That was a out of character move, I guess, because it'd been it said 23 years since they took a 1st-round wide receiver. So maybe that's the biggest biggest off-season splash.
And I should mention I said everybody is healthy. I got correction retraction there. We don't know when we're going to see Christian Watson. He's the one. He's the one question mark, which is why they go to the trouble of spending the 1st-round talent on Golden, I'm assuming.
I have him as like weeks 4 to 6, somewhere in there. I don't have him penciled in starting the season for sure. The injury was so late, so maybe even later than that. If somebody has a clear, every article you're going to read about an injury this time of year is like, there's no timeline for this guy, or they're not discussing timelines yet. It's he's ahead of schedule. He's looking good, so it's really hard to guess. You just kind of got to take that 9 to 12 months. Look at what position they play and try to figure out, based on when the injury happened. So I'm figuring missing a quarter to a third of the season for him. They drafted a tackle from NC State. A lot of the draft nicks said this was a reach, but again, I can't fault them, I guess, if it's a guy they liked, and they've done a pretty decent job of evaluating some of these young offensive linemen. With the huge asterisk of last year's, because Jordan Morgan is not looking like he's ready again, and you drafted him in the 1st round last year, and it's looking like
a big asterisk.
It's a second. It's looking like very much bust city. They drafted Debo in round 3 in Savion Williams. I don't think you could read a single draft analysis, draft whatever you want to call it, bio that doesn't compare him to Debo. He's big. He's a massive gadget player. He had 60 catches and 51 carries, 21 touchdowns, or 20 touchdowns. So fun little TCU guys. If you want to manufacture touches for him, it's fun, but he's a bit raw. And then from there, it was a lot of defense. He drafted an edge from Texas, Barrett Sorrell, another edge from Oklahoma State in round 3, a DT that don't think's related to Will Brinson, but Warren Brinson, and then some more depth. Outside of that, free agent signings. Isaiah Simmons is kind of that's a free square kind of move, like you said, because this was somebody who was drafted very high, kind of similar to who did we mention yesterday for the Vikings that the Lions drafted in the top 5.
Okuda.
It's like that. Hey, this guy was drafted.
Oh, except they need him to play.
Yeah,
This
little different. Little different.
This one is whatever we get is gravy.
Yeah, this one's this one's better because hey, he was drafted high for a reason. Cardinals didn't know how to use him. Giants didn't really use him right, or who knows? He got a little bit there. Flexibility in the front 7. Other than that, you re-signed Brandon McManus. This was one of the worst special teams units in a lot of senses, but they got him mid-season and he went 20 for 21. So they have a good kicker now. You re-signed McDuffie. You re-signed there was one other guy. Oh, you re-signed your punter. I think you tendered him and he's secured. So you're bringing back some of the guys that were good, part of this good team last year. And yeah, not a lot of turnover. I mean,
you're right. McManus was nasty after they brought him in. They got rid of Narveson, who was 5 of 9 from 40 to 49, and then they bring in McManus. McManus went 3 for 3 for 50 plus. My goodness.
Yeah, they've had a huge gap there ever since Crosby. After Crosby went downhill and they got rid of him, it was like it's been a while since they had a good kicker. So yeah, if McManus is good, that's just one more feather in the cap, I suppose.
Okay. All right. Just in general, like this is about as ideal a team building scenario as you can have, where you're going to be cutting probably some good players who you drafted. But it's because everybody else you have drafted is good enough to keep on the roster, as far as I can tell you. Yeah. The only glaring swing and a miss was Jordan Morgan, and who knows, maybe he ultimately provides something, but, honestly, if a seventh round 2022 draft choice by you of Rasheed Walker is beating him out, that's a good problem. If a 4th round, right tackle Zach Tom drafted and developed by you is a hit to the tune that they paid him, like that's a good problem. These are good problems. So, pretty wild.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot McManus was let go after there were some allegations with a stewardess. What is it about kickers becoming sex pests now? Jesus, guys. He used to just keep your head low, kick the ball, and try not to get beat up by the big guys. We need to
get Denny Carter to amend his tweet and add kickers being sex pests to the positional characterizations, generalizations. Anyway, yeah,
they did have their quarterbacks coach retire. I don't know if this is a big deal considering how highly we consider LaFleur, but he called it a career. It's been around for a long time. Tom Clements. Sean Mannion is now your quarterbacks coach. Former, obviously, almost all quarterbacks coaches were quarterbacks, I guess, but I remember him being in Vikings training camp a few years. And then I think Luke Getsy is on this staff still here, or added to the staff. So he is a senior assistant on the offense. And I don't think that he's, I don't think he's not additive. Maybe you don't want him as in a leadership position, but I think he can bring something to the table. So they did have some weird turnover on like the lower end of the, what do you want to call it? The coaching tree there, where they had they got rid of their defensive line coach. Their linebacker coach went to be the Jaguars DC. They lost a couple guys to the Jaguars. They lost a few guys, someone to the Saints. So they had to do some promoting and hiring as well. Jeff Koons. That name sounds familiar. He's now a defense assistant. I'm going to look him up.
Okay. Let's look at the schedule. Don't have much else to say about their offseason. I thought it was pretty clean. The schedule brought to
I'm
you...
thinking of the artist.
Oh. The guy with the balloon animal art?
Yeah, he makes the balloon animal. And if you go to the Wynn in Vegas, they own a couple. There's the Popeye. That's a different person.
Very different person. Let's look at the schedule sponsored by Circa Contests. If you have been enjoying these previews in the months of July and August, we have been entertaining you through the doldrums and the dog days of summer. Support our sponsors. Go to Las Vegas. Sign up for the contests. We don't ask for anything.
Donaldson, I'm going to let him see how long until he notices.
Did I put that up?
Yeah.
I put up last year's.
That is definitely last year's schedule.
This is 2024.
Well, we know they were. I'm pegging them for 11 wins then. We'll find the new one. So, yeah, I am. My countdown is now at 7 days. This time next week, I will be already landed and hopefully doing a podcast. Hopefully everything sets up nice and the tech doesn't give me any grief. But doing a podcast from Las Vegas as we talk about what will that day be? That'll be the Steelers podcast.
What day are you getting in, and what day are you talking about?
Wednesday. So it'll be
Wednesday. Will be Bengals. Thursday will be Ravens.
Bengals and Ravens from the desert. All right, this is a little better. This looks a little more like their schedule, and
it's pretty easy for what is a otherwise very difficult set of schedules in the NFC North. Wouldn't you agree?
It is, but is
that because it's a third place schedule?
You do play, yeah. You do still have to play your division, which sucks. You still have to go to Denver. You still have to play Washington at home.
Yeah.
You get a tough if secondary is going to be maybe one of your weak spots. Cincinnati's not a team that is probably a good matchup for you. But at the in the same, and Baltimore late, that's at home as well. But in the same sense, you get Cleveland, you get Carolina, you get the Giants. You get to host the Bears, and maybe the Bears don't turn out to be very good this year. I didn't even mention the Philly game as well. That's at home. So some of the tough ones are at home. Washington, Philly, Baltimore, very high-end teams, tough teams to play, but you get them in Green Bay, and a couple of them late. Not that, Philly and Baltimore are scared of the cold weather, but you do get them in your home field there up in Titletown. So that part's nice. You get a nice little rest advantage there on the Monday night game versus Philly, because I think Philly has a what is the
they have a bye heading into that. You don't, so you're disadvantaged for that Philly Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, that's a disadvantage because Philly's coming off the bye. Like you mentioned, the Cincy game's tough, but you do get a bye week for Hayfley to scheme against that offense. It's not easy, but it's not the toughest schedule we've talked about for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say a couple of kind of general observations. You mentioned you do have to play everyone in your division. You're only dogs once out of those 6 games, and that's at Detroit. The other 5 divisional games, you are a favorite. Also, the market has decided you are a small favorite in a lot of games. A lot. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instances where you are a 1.5 point favorite.
Using your current market ratings and home field in January, what would you make the at Minnesota game right now?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because we both agreed yesterday that we have Minnesota a little higher than market. I think we're both on market or maybe a little higher on Green Bay as well. But
I actually did the exercise of pricing every game all season.
Nice.
Let me go and pull that number up. I have it sortable, so I can just say by team. And let's pull up GB. Right now, I would make Green Bay 0.8 point favorites there.
Okay. It's close. I'm
0.8.
Barely over a pick 'em. like a 0.4.
Okay.
Still a favorite, but yeah, that'll be interesting based on Minnesota's trajectory. Minnesota could be a favorite at home at that point, or Green Bay could be rolling in their 3-point, 3.5.
Here's the thing. So I think there is a very real world where a small upgrade to these guys, like if they're playing well, if things are looking good, if Love is healthy and it looks like he did in the back half of 2023, for instance, you upgrade these guys a nudge and all of these 1.5s become 3s.
Yeah.
Right. All of a sudden, like, those plus 1.5s against, hosting Philly, hosting Baltimore at Denver. I doubt the Baltimore one, but the Denver one, surely, and the Philly one, those might become pick'ems, right? Like a small upgrade to this team. And all of a sudden we're talking, are they threatening for the 1 seed? Are they threatening for 13, 14 wins? Because there's a lot of other, most of this, to me at least, looks very, very manageable from a schedule standpoint. Not a lot of real scary, spooky spots in here, unless Minnesota is much better than we think, which is possible.
Sam Lipscomb, longtime listener, first time commenter, says Love 33-1 is my only MVP bet so far.
Yeah,
that was going to be something I brought up at the end. I think if you are looking at how to bet on the high end of this team, if you think they overperform, he seems to be liked by the media, and they want it to happen. They want him to be good. It feels that way. Not to the point of like, hey, we're willing Josh Allen to this MVP last year, and he deserved it. He was very good, but it seems like the media does like him, and they want this story of another Green Bay Packers quarterback is an All-Pro, and wow, it's crazy they keep doing that. And if he just stays healthy for a full year and he has some signature wins, you beat the champs on Monday Night Football, you win this division, like it's within the realm of possible. It's a big enough number to think about it.
If you're the 1 seed and you beat Baltimore in week 17, then Love wins.
It's just, there's so many big names, but there's, hey, Lamar has a couple and Josh just won his. And if Mahomes does the thing where he's just a, very, very, very good quarterback for the regular season and elite after they vote, then, you're in the conversation, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Birdie's right that Allen's schedule is much, much easier, but the recency, the churn, the intent, the incentive to churn this award is real. We saw last year with them not giving it to Lamar, who probably deserved it over Allen because it was Allen's turn. Right. And I guess you look at the Packers are going to be in the front and center in everybody's face all year long if they are good through Thanksgiving. They're playing Thanksgiving at Detroit. Those games down the stretch against Denver, against Baltimore, like those are going to get flexed into some pretty high eyeballs, high leverage type of consumption, and they're going to end up being meaningful in the decision making of who gets awards. So I think I would put Love 6th right now in my power ratings for who's most likely to win the MVP. You want to just take a wild guess? I did this exercise independently. It didn't prep you for this, but you want to guess how many MVP candidates I think there are?
7.
I think it's bigger. I think it's like 12.
Okay.
I think it's 12. You have to have a realistic chance for your team to be a 1 seed in your conference. And you have to be a good quarterback. And I think there's 12 of those guys. But Love is kind of 6th out of 12 right now.
Yeah.
In my power
and it's funny, even
MVP.
I think even Saquon doing a back-to-back, it's still like, hey, good for you. Here's another Offensive Player of the Year award. It still feels so hard to win this if you're not a quarterback. So you're probably right. It just, you have to be the 1 seed or an electric 2 seed, and have to have the stats too.
Yeah. So I feel like Sam brought this up mostly because he wanted to flex that he got 33-1 when Bookmaker was about 18-1 when they took the market down yesterday. So that's a nice little CLV. Congratulations on a 2nd place finish for Jordan Love in the MVP race. Yeah. That much CLV is always tough to tough to overcome. In seriousness, though,
Should
this
bet
is
it at Kelsey and just taking your money.
there. You go. This is a pretty easy schedule from a travel standpoint. No real gnarly trips like going to Sao Paulo, Brazil. No, not even a lot of trips east. From your friendly confines to the West Coast. I think the furthest they go west is Arizona, and then turn around and go at Pittsburgh. If you can navigate those two games and get 2 wins, I think that that's a pretty impressive achievement in those back-to-back roadies. You do finish with 3 of 4 on the road, so I think there is a world where if you are not winning the NFC North, my excitement to bet you to win the NFC is pretty low. Even in the face of the fact that Jordan Love and company went into Dallas and had such a monumental playoff win as a 7th seed 2 years ago. So
here's the thing. And here's the thing about betting Green Bay. If you're tepid on them, but you're interested, but you're a little worried, maybe they're not elite. It feels very much like it's a 1-1 start, possibly 0-2. Beating both of those really good teams, even they're at home, that's a big ask for a team that's, making some changes and probably has some weaknesses in the back end of their secondary. And, if you see, hey, this is a team that I believe in, they just ran into 2 really good teams to start. Maybe there's a price you can find on something to win the division, to make the playoffs, to, a live win total at that point, something like that. Because starting with Detroit and Washington, it's like, yay, we start with 2 home games. Oh,
those are real tough.
Hey, it's the team that lost in the title game the last 2 years. It's 2 really, really good teams against some really, really good coaching staff.
At least you have a quick turnaround.
Yeah. And
Thursday Night Football week 2 is Washington, Green Bay. That's awesome.
Short week.
Awesome.
At least you get Cleveland after that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Being just hilarious, by the way. Just sidebar. I love that Shedeur hasn't really run with the starting offense at all, but we're going to trot him out there for the preseason game. Give him like 1 practice. So
yeah.
Cleveland remains a mess. That might be a scheduled win.
You want to lock in some preseason CLV? Lay the 5.5 with Green Bay at Cleveland. Assuming Jordan Love is able to walk, and maybe even if Malik Willis is under center. I think that number is going to be on the other side of a touchdown.
Do I or do I not have a pulse? Yes.
My fair price on that is close to 8.6. Yikes. And that's on road game. Oh boy. My Cleveland number is not good. All right. Well, we'll get to that Monday though. Survivor.
If you were entering the Circus Survivor, where would you think about using the Green Bay Packers?
I'm not touching them until at least week 9.
I was going to say the Carolina game at home looks nice. You're coming off a double roadie.
I think you're also because they play on Thanksgiving. You have to at least entertain the possibility that something happens to Goff, right? A lot was made. I don't know if you saw this, Andy, but a lot was made of the downgrade from starting quarterback to backup, Goff to whoever wins that sad state of affairs in Detroit, Hendon Hooker or Kyle Allen. That is a big downgrade, and there is definitely a world where if Goff is not, if something happens to him and you get to week 9 and you still got Green Bay in pocket, you might need to be thinking about keeping them for Thanksgiving.
Which Allen is this? He was with Pittsburgh.
Kyle.
Which Allen did they play last year? They got one of the Allen brothers. Like there's one really good Allen, and then there's 2 more Allens, and they're both like the 50th best quarterback, and I can never keep them straight.
I don't think there's any good Allens. You know what? I have all of the quarterback
I have Josh Allen is pretty
plays
good.
Going from 2022 to 24. Let me tell you how all of the Allens rank.
Josh Allen
Josh Allen is number 2.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is number 2. I forgot one.
I just kept saying it.
Josh Allen is number 2. Yeah.
This is a mean. If you look at the Allens as a whole, this is one of those mean median problems.
Yes. That's absolutely right. Yeah, Josh Allen is 2.
Very good.
I guess Brandon Allen and Kyle Allen don't have enough plays to qualify for my my list here, so I can't find them. Anyway, let's. I think again, like, because Detroit is week 1 and because they are. Still talking.
Do you remember that
Allen.
moment?
Josh Hines Allen,
besides himself. Yes.
Yeah. Because Green Bay is taking on Detroit at home as favorites week 1. Number 1, I think that's an advantageous spot for Green Bay because you are dealing with the turnover of the offensive line and the offensive coordinator. If you want to get a head start on Green Bay for your NFC North, you know where you want them on your schedule. You want them week 1 at home, right? Like that's kind of pretty advantageous for Green Bay, I think.
Yeah.
And Washington, very tough test. You could certainly be 1-1. You could be 0-2 after 2 weeks. But I think specifically that Green Bay game being week 1 and seeing some betting market enthusiasm for Green Bay in that game is all kind of pointing in the same direction, which is if you are ever going to bet Green Bay to win the NFC North, you just have to do it now. Because that price could get cleaved if they win that week 1 contest, which the market thinks they will.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to how you feel about Detroit and that rebuilt offensive line. The fact, and we'll talk about Detroit in about 25 minutes here, so we'll get to that. I think we're both. Drew's cool. Obviously, he's on record. I'm gonna try to play devil's advocate, but man, as I spent more and more time on it, it's hard. It's hard to defend. Hey, all these things are going to happen, and it's going to be just fine, guys.
Just wait till we get to ratings. It's going to be hilarious because I'm high on Green Bay, or I thought I was high on Green Bay, but my number is slightly lower than market. I thought I was low on Detroit, but my number is slightly higher than market on them. So my head isn't an absolute pretzel, but I did bet Green Bay to win the NFC North. I think if you can find a plus 250 or better, that's worth playing. The fact that, again, to repeat, the fact that they get Detroit at home week 1 is a great time to get them. They're not playing another NFC North game until week 12, where it is another home game against Minnesota. So you can stack this in a way that by Thanksgiving, you have a pretty impressive amount of equity already built up in that position, pretty much independent of anything else happening, I think.
Yeah, I have less than 1 point difference in my power ratings for the two teams. Detroit's still ranked higher because they should be, but not by as much as last season. It's getting tight up top because I had Minnesota as like a 2.2.
Mm-hmm.
So fun division. Let's so Survivor, probably looking at that Carolina spot, or later in the year, there's the Minnesota game. There's a decent chance Minnesota just doesn't have a good quarterback. JJ could turn out to be a complete bust. And if he's a complete bust, that's a touchdown. You're looking at a touchdown there. The Giants could be way worse.
Jackson Dart might be making his first start week 11.
Yeah, the Giants, the Vikings, the Bears could be much worse than we thought. Everyone's rosy on that. There's a lot of spots late in the season where I think you could use this Packers team. Yep,
it's a save for week 9 or later, I think. Let's talk ratings so we can make our time window work out here. We mentioned a lot of things. My quarterback rating is maybe the most difficult to square because it's like mental, like perception wise, it doesn't feel clear and obvious that Jordan Love is a top. I don't know what the right word is. A top 10 guy, right? Like it's not obvious if you just kind of, hear from everybody who has an opinion about NFL quarterbacking.
I have him as 10th. He's 10th though.
Even that may be low. If you look at, again, like a sample that includes his first year starting, which had a half of a year of a dreadful football. His most recent year starting, which had many games where he was meaningfully injured. EPA per dropback going back to 2022. He is top. It resorted these. Sorry, man. He is number 8 of all quarterbacks. He is behind Lamar, Jared Goff, Tua, Jaden Daniels, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Brock Purdy. That is rare air. He is clearly has the ability to make high level throws down the field. He's got a very live arm, and it's very unconventional the way he has achieved this really good efficiency. It feels like when he is in structure, when they're asking him to do simple things, a lot of times it looks bad. And then when things go sideways and he is asked to do crazy things, he can produce magic. And sometimes that's not sustainable. I will note that. But he is truly capable of hitting a home run, which is important in today's NFL. He can make throws to all levels of the field. He is a must rank top 10 in my opinion, and I'm at 6.3 for him plus the OC. What about you?
Oh, 7.25.
Oh,
I love
even
LaFleur,
rosier.
and yeah, so I started low, and yeah, it was, and I do disagree a little with half here too, and I want to find something. Oh man, it's if you haven't yet, and this is not an ad, but Clev TA, however you want to say it out loud, his preview stuff is good. I kind of just forgot about it, and I started incorporating that a little, reading what he talked about teams, and he had some stats about how Love does start to bring a bit of a higher floor, and a lot of where he was bad was because he couldn't move. If he's healthy, he's going to be just fine, I believe, and I think it's a good spot to be in with this OC and this quarterback. And if he's 100% healthy, I think I'm going to be moving him up.
Yeah, the bizarre thing for me with him was always the fact that he sucked in first half of games and was Pat Mahomes in second half of games. Like it just was like, what? How is this possible? And then second half of seasons he got better. It's just a really unusual and unnatural sample in terms of time distribution.
Here it is.
It's crazy.
And this is directly from his preview. He's also had to face the single toughest schedule of opposing pass defenses, which included 9 games against top 10 EPA pass defense. In fact, I was surprised, that's him talking, to see that he was the only starting quarterback who did not generate a single bottom 30th percentile EPA performance allowed by opposing defenses on his schedule.
Wow.
Like he played a pretty tough pass defense last year. 11 picks isn't great. It was like a 2.5, 2.7% pick rate. That needs to get cleaned up. I would agree with you there, but he's very good if you go look at the underlying stats.
This is insane. Third and fourth quarters of his career, second halves of games, he is 0.256 EPA per play over a 600 play sample. That is Josh Allen territory. That's Jaden Daniels territory. It's better than Mahomes. It's better than Goff and Purdy. That's better than Lamar Jackson. It's wild. That's an incredible number. And it's not even on like a completing low likelihood plays. It's just doing what he's asked to do at an extremely high level, which is very cool. Anyway,
and some of that rating is LaFleur. A lot of respect for LaFleur and what he's done.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so you're at 7.25. I'm at 6.3. For skill position player or skill position group, I'm at a 6. I don't love this group. Where are you?
6.19. I'm not sure how if I mash some buttons wrong or how, because I have a lot of even numbers until I start throwing other stuff into it. Yeah, Josh Jacobs was probably a good signing. It wasn't, not earth shaking, but he's still very, very serviceable. This is going to be higher when Christian Watson is healthy, but he's certainly not. You can do a lot worse for fill-ins, though. They have depth. We make fun of them for all these wide receiver twos. You have a shitload of depth. Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Santavian Wicks. You drafted Savion Williams. I mentioned the gadget guy. You have Matthew Golden, who's fast as hell and I think looks good. So it's hard to, and McCole Hardman, who can certainly start and play in games. And then Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft, very good tight end room. So above average, goes up a little when Watson's back. It's some of it's scheme, making these guys good, but they all bring different things to the table. And I think you have a wide variety of wide receivers, and obviously 2 really good tight ends.
Okay. Am I still with you?
Yes. Or did you freeze or what?
One of my tabs that was open that has just unconscionably bad advertisements froze all my Chrome, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get kicked out here."
I haven't even checked Walter Football today.
All right,
love you, Charlie.
offensive line. I went 8. I know that you're replacing a somewhat important part with Myers, but I still think this is as good as you get in terms of continuity and talent, and even the depth I think has potential to surprise to the good. So this is a great unit, in my opinion. Where are you?
Oh, I have a 6.5. Maybe I'm a little low, but yeah, you're bringing in one new piece. Tom's good. Rasheed Walker you could do better at left tackle. Like you're not elite there. You're bringing in Aaron Banks. You're moving Jenkins, and then you have Sean Ryan at guard. It's a bunch of guys who are very good. You have 4/5 continuity, I guess, which is good. So maybe I'm a touch low, but just underlying metrics were nothing was elite about this. It was just a very, very good offensive line.
Okay. Zach Tom is a top 20 tackle. No question.
Zach Tom's good. Rasheed Walker, you can do a lot better at left. They paid Zach Tom. And then the interior remains to be seen. Good enough. I think the Jenkins move to center is probably the proper move. They talked about, I think they talked about Banks there instead, but it looks like he's going to be a guard. And then, as I mentioned, the depth isn't great. Like your best backup tackle is probably Anthony Belton, who has never played a snap in the NFL. And then Jordan Morgan is looking like an absolute bust. So I kind of dung him a little for depth there.
Okay, so you're high on QB relative to me and low on O line, which means we're probably going to come to the same conclusion. This is around the 6th best offense, 4th best for you.
Quarterback's such a heavyweight,
Yeah. Defense. I think this is a very good defense. I'm very excited to see these guys continue to grow and improve. Year 2 under a defensive coordinator whose scheme I really thought was pretty solid last year. I give them very high grades for run stop and coverage. My only a little bit of a ding is for pass rush, where you just don't have the elite pass rushing talent, which may make winning games hard. It may make covering spreads when you're a favorite hard. But I'm at 6.4 for run stop, 4.1 for pass rush, and 7.1 for coverage. What do you think?
Whew. Yeah, my coverage grade doesn't agree. 7.25 for run stop. It was very good, one of the best, better than even Detroit at times. And pass rush 5. They have some good players. Some guys are starting to put it together. Gary Clark, Wyatt Van Ness, and even the linebackers and some help from the secondary. So pass rush was a 5 for me. Coverage is just a 4 and I'm assuming you have to start probably Carrington Valentine in place of Hobbs. This goes up. So this is like Hobbs' out number right now.
Okay. Hobbs moves the needle a very small amount for me. The fact that these guys were
pretty bad cornerback group though. Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney are good, but even with Hobbs in, Nixon, Bullard, Hobbs is a bad cornerback group. Not league average to me, those 3 as a group.
Okay. This group, when they had to cover, like second half of games last year, second best in the NFL after the Broncos. Overall, I had them top 4 in EPA per dropback allowed. And the fact that what really sold me on the coverage was the step forward that they made with very little change of personnel between 23 and 24 has me sold that, like, okay, you give this this guy, you give Jeff Hafley young talent to work with, and he's going to do some impressive things. I think the linebacking core is extremely solid in coverage. I think the
Edgerton Cooper as a rookie.
Yeah, he was amazing. Xavier McKinney is still elite in my opinion. He's your strong safety, obviously. I have a good grade on Evan Williams. Nixon, Bullard. Yeah. Valentine and Ballantyne somewhat questionable numbers for them, but I think ultimately this is still a very good coverage unit. I could not take them out of my top 5, considering what they did last year.
Yeah. I'll be below average. I'll be above average, I think, when Hobbs comes back. Or if he's starting week 1, we'll bump this number up.
Okay.
God,
well, I'm at top. This is a top six defense for me. 6th best offense, 6th best defense for me.
The other coverage knock, real quick, was outside of Cooper, who again was very good as a rookie. Not only pass rush, but in coverage. No other linebacker was terribly good at coverage. Quay Walker and McDuffie were, negatives as far as coverage goes as a linebacking group. So it's a weird defense because they took such a nice step forward with Hafley. As I mentioned, they got the kicker, so I bumped my special teams up to a 4. It's still struggled in a lot of ways, but at least you have a kicker now. My coach rating is 6.5. He was middle of the pack for aggressiveness stuff, but he also, I wonder if you broke that down. It's like, hey, Malik Willis is under center. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
let's kick it.
Yeah,
let's kick it.
But just in general, what he showed in his ability to develop
second half adjustments,
game plans that kind of optimize the pieces he had to work with. I'm at 7 for intangibles for the Packers. I think that this is one of the better staffs in football. My final rating is a 3.64 for Green Bay. Where are you?
4.01.
Pretty similar, but a healthy delta between Green Bay and Minnesota that's almost the same for the two of us. So we are basically saying the space between Green Bay and Minnesota is the same.
Yeah. Which would be interesting to see what our space looks like between Green Bay and our very next podcast, which will be the Detroit Lions. Real quick before we get to that, you talked about betting them, preseason. If you do like them, if you're higher on market and you're lower on Detroit, you expect them to win that game, like you said. It's maybe a move you want to make now. Win total wise, I mean, is it
the price for that game, here? By the way? Well, actually, that's a great question. The week 1 game, gosh dang it, I keep clicking on the wrong window. The week 1 game is out to 2.5. Very interesting to see if there's any additional steam that pushes that to 3. That'll kind of be a good indicator of where the market makers are on Green Bay, whether they're high on this team, as if they're willing to push those 2.5s to 3. I doubt anyone's laying 3 at that point, but kind of fascinated if the
it feels like a snap move right back.
Yeah, I just kind of want to know if we get to circles off on that side, because right now limits are still only 2K for week 1, which just feels low for this time of year, but it is what it is. Maybe it's just waiting for these preseason week 1 games to end and know that nobody gets hurt. But whatever the case is, fascinated to see what happens to that number. Odds to win the NFC for the Packers are 8 plus 825 to win the Super Bowl. 18-12. Those two actually check out almost exactly to me, so I don't think I'm dying to get involved with either one of those. Their NFC North number right now is plus 233. Again, if you can find a plus 250, I think betting it now makes sense. Your question about the regular season win total and some of the alt totals, it looks like the best we can do is over 10.5 in the alt market, and that's plus 159. 11 wins feels very, very, very likely. I mean, everything went wrong for you last year. You got to 11.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same team. You're running it back, and if you stay healthy, it's not a terrible schedule. One thing I did want to ask about, because this is something I went back and forth on. Some of the metrics for pass rush weren't great. Like a lot of them. And pressure rate was pretty poor. Pass rush win rate
26th. Yeah,
26th in the league. Yeah. But here's something uber productive. They were 7th in the league in sacks. Their knockdown rate, their pressure rate, their hurry rate, All of those bottom half of the league or worse.
I think a lot of it was situational for them, right?
Yeah,
like they
did not blitz. They were last, I believe, in blitz rate, maybe second. They were second to last. 17% of plays they blitzed on. There was several teams that doubled that, including the Lions.
Yeah, their sack number was great because they played the Bears twice. Great comment, Brady. All right.
This mystery solved.
Final thoughts on the Packers. Do you like 250 for the North or plus 159 for over 10.5 wins better?
Well,
they're not all that different in terms of score.
I like the Vikings as a longer shot better.
Okay. Interesting. 10.5 plus 159 feels not right. Feels like that should be more like plus 130-ish, but it's not a big enough number to get me that excited, I guess. All right. Let's call it and talk about another NFC North team. Does that work for you?
Yeah, we're going to call it a day here. We'll pop over to a different show. Same channel, different show. We'll talk about the Motor City Kitties. Dan Campbell